Hello friends! Welcome to CoderSlang, the one and only place you need to go to become a software engineer. My name's CoderSlang Master and I'm teaching you full stack JavaScript. In today's video, I'm going to help you with the common beginner mistakes by reviewing the questions you've left in the discussion forum at en.coderslang.com. Some of those questions are already marked with the check mark, which means that the question is already resolved. Even though some questions are already resolved, I will go into them to just check what kind of problems you've been having with. So Medel Hadi asks that they're getting this error, what that means. This error means that something is wrong with the solution, with your code. And to be able to tell you what's wrong with your code, I need to see your code, and it's not there. So really the only thing that I can say is that please add your code, as otherwise impossible to tell you what's wrong with it. It's quite a long thread that started with something and eventually it got a reply from me. But it looks like there are some new comments here. That's absolutely right. Actually the problem here is that the task asks for normal weight to be outputted as normal weight with the lowercase w. And here they write it with the uppercase W, which is not what's been required. So the check doesn't pass. Like to OSAP, because that's a great note. Okay, so what you see here is, first of all, it's very hard to understand what is code and what is a question, just because everything is in one font, in one piece. So the first thing that I want to do, and the first thing that I suggest you do, is edit your posts in a way that makes them readable. And you can do that by adding 3 quotes, 3 backticks like this in the line that's before your code starts. And then in the end, you want to add 3 backticks once again. And then you can continue with your question like, what does it mean? Save changes to the question, and then let's see what the problem is. Okay. So there's a function printArray that console logs array, okay. And then there's an import of this function, and then there's months, and then there's printArray function called for months I. Well, it's kind of hard to tell here because the original poster didn't tell what was required of them in this task. So I'm going to ask, please add the task description and the submission results. However, my guess is that this printArray function should not just log the array, which is not the array in this case, it's just an element of the array, but it should rather have the loop in it and go through every array element and then log this array element to the console. So let's see how we can modify this. So the function printArray, let's remove the export because we're not exporting it anywhere in my case. We'll have, let's make this a little shorter. And now let's try to run this code. And we see that it outputs 3 months, January, February, and March. But the problem here is that the loop is outside of the function. So if we just call the function, printArray months, the output will not be the same. The output will be like January, February, and March all in one string and split by commas. As you see, January, February, and March. In this case, we are really printing the whole array instead of printing its elements. So the change that you want to make here would be starting with the for loop and then logging the array elements in this loop, like this. I believe that's all you need to do to solve this task correctly. I'm having issues solving question 100. I don't really understand the question. Well, that's a problem because I don't understand your question. Like, what is question 100? What exactly you don't understand about it? Like, I really like, you have someone who wants to help you, but it's literally impossible to help because you're not saying what your problem is, and you're not saying what the question is. And like, everything is really unclear here. So okay, so the problem here is that Harish is using an incorrect formula to calculate the distance. The distance is calculated as the product of write speed and write time. If you're going for 1 hour at the speed of 100 kilometers per hour, the distance that you will cover will be 100 kilometers. It will not be 101 as this formula would suggest. So the fix here is to use the correct formula. The distance is calculated as a product of speed and time, not their sum. I'm making some slight changes to the I've made some slight changes to the distance function. It doesn't make much sense to call it distance. It would be a lot better to call it get distance because it's a function, so we want something from it. It should be a verb. Function names should always be verbs. Then the arguments A and B don't really tell us much about what we're doing here, so calling them speed and time makes a lot more sense. And then we're returning the product of speed and time to get the distance. Okay. So the problem here is that it's written in Russian. And if your native language is Russian, or you just know Russian better than English, you want to post on a different forum. And then Harish once again, posts his error, but it's really impossible to help them because they're not telling what their problem is. They're not showing their code. Muhammad RB has a problem with task 103, which requires you to, if I recall correctly, it requires you to write a function to calculate the circle circumference or the circle length that should return the length of the circumference given the radius. And as William Frankus points out, just apply the rule formula pi multiplied by radius multiplied by 2. This is a correct one. Like select best answer, reply. Now we need to reply to this guy. How to download new tasks, just sec 10 on 30th of May. Wow, that was a long time back. Asks, how can I download new tasks to solve in VS Code? Tyler answers, if you are using IDE like VS Code, then there is an option given in the CoderSlang extension. If you're not seeing this option, then connect your CoderSlang account to CoderSlang extension installed in your VS Code and also install Node.js in your device. Thank you, Tyler, for the solution. Bro, but I click download and it doesn't download. So if the tasks aren't downloaded, this means that you have not opened them yet. To get the new tasks, you should first open the new lecture at js.coderslang.com. The flow is always like this. You open a new lecture, you study it, and then you get coding tasks. Hi, I need help with my task 102. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, let's apply the fix to the code. Let's apply the fix to the code styling. Oh, and then someone else has the same error. So we'll ask them, could you please post your code here or create a new topic with your code? Let's actually mark this one as resolved, because this answer looks like the best answer to this question. Help with task 84. Mardi à. It looks very easy, but it gives me error. Yeah, it's next to impossible to see the screenshot. So yeah, so I don't really know what to say here. Okay, another task where it is very hard to make sense of what's in here because it's not formatted. And we are applying a very, very easy thing. Just 3 backticks here and there, and everything becomes a lot better. Okay, so it looks like someone has already posted the correct code, and the problem with it is that the person that made this question is now very likely to just copy and paste this code into their code editor, and by doing this, they will not learn much, and your goal here is to learn. It's not to copy and paste code. It's not to learn copy pasting. It's to learn programming. And to learn programming, you need to solve the problems on your own. So what I would suggest here is just asking this person, just why have you added parentheses here? Are they required? So let's first off, let's reply to this guy saying your code looks good. However, it does more harm than good. Let's actually try the say hello thing. We'll not export it because we're just working in one file. And let's see, say hello coder slang. Now let's run it. Clear the terminal and run it. Okay, so nothing happens. Okay, of course, because I need to console log it. Console.log, say hello. Hello coder slang. Okay, yeah, so the problem here is that what happens if we just remove the parentheses? Oh, the problem stays the same. So the problem is not this. The problem is something different. The problem is the space. The space sits here, and there's no space here. So we want to add one space here. We want to remove the space here and see how the output changes. Okay, now the spacing is in the right place, and I believe this solves the problem. And actually, if we add parentheses, I don't think it should change anything. I think it would be all the same. Yeah. So let's actually edit my reply because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Parentheses don't make a problem. The problem with your code is misplaced space. Check your output and compare it with the one in the task description. What you'll see is the space right before the exclamation mark and not after the comma. Oh, explanation mark. It's not explanation mark, it's exclamation mark. How to solve task 127. Can you, Code Slang Master, can you explain? I can't understand X or Y or Z. I don't understand this question, so I can't help. Task 123. Again, badly formatted code, but we'll help it. We'll help it just with the 3 backticks. 3 backticks. Same error coming while submitting that appropriate message if X is greater than Y. Once again, it's very hard to tell what the problem is because we just don't know the question. And probably if there was a question, if there was task description, this person would have already gotten the reply from someone. So first of all, make sure to add a task description and the submission results to your posts. Otherwise, it's hard to guess your question. I think that the problem here is that you're just outputting the incorrect message to the screen. Okay, so the if condition says X greater than Y, but the output says is greater than or equal to, which doesn't really make sense. I suggest updating the string that is logged to the console. Two more tasks and I'll wrap it up. Thanks, I had the same problem. We'll just like it and say, I'm happy that you resolved it. Hello everyone. I hope there's still time to help. Here's my code. Yeah. Here's your code, and we need to apply some styling to it. I tested it works. Save changes. Yeah, the code looks okay. There's a function findMin, which accepts two parameters A and B, and returns if A is less than B, it returns A, otherwise it returns B. That's totally normal. Then there's a function min3, which takes A, B, and C, and it returns the result of findMin, which then calls inside of it. It calls findMin for A and B, and then C. Yeah, so first we'll find the minimum of A or B, and then it'll be either A or B compared to C, and you'll get the result. So this looks good. And now I'm interested in what kind of errors you're getting. Okay, that's good enough for today. I hope it was insightful. Although those were mainly the problems with code formatting, as you saw, and some very, very basic issues. I'm looking forward to more questions from you. The better questions you ask, the better will be the quality of my answers. Because if you don't ask something that I can answer, then I will not be able to answer it, as obvious as it is. So thank you, and have a good one. Bye-bye.